And good evening. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here from the Highlander Activities Center on the Highlander Activity Network. I'm your host, Paul McDonald. Tonight, a great show for you this evening. We've got tennis, baseball, track all lined up, coming up a little bit later on. But as we have done on past shows, you got to start with state champs. And we're going to start with the state championship speech team. Not all of them. I mean, we don't have room for all of them, but we have one of the individual champions and a part of that state championship speech team. And Coach Abby Ingstead will be joining us momentarily, but Maddie Clabel. Maddie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
State champ.
Yes.
I think you must have been the catalyst because this 5 straight run started when you first got here.
That's what I like to say. I don't know if it's necessarily true.
But how does it feel? Just did you guys really feel you had another outstanding competition at the state competition in Jamestown?
I think so. Our coach Abby got on the bus right after it all happened. It was just kind of like, I don't think we could have done more than we did today, which is an amazing thing to hear. We were worried a little bit about the idea of like complacency and like not trying our hardest and not working hard enough, but we really were pushed and stretched by a lot of the competition that we saw in the state this year. And I think that really all of us just brought our A game and were able to really prove our passion and did what we could to get that state championship.
5th in a row, so another banner is going to get added up here at the Highlander Activity Center. Another state championship banner, and prior to that, of course, an EDC championship. Get these numbers now: 36 entries, 23 placed, which I think seventh I think I saw was the lowest, but 23 out of 36 placed, 13 placed in the top 3, and then 6 champions. Now yourself. And I wrote it down because I did not want to screw this up. This is something we want to make sure we get right. Ben Kruda. Yes. From Humorous, Amelie Meester, Inform, Vismaya Jacob, poetry champion and a repeat champion.
Yes. One of the only that we've had in our history. Absolutely incredible performer.
And you'd said that her poetry is wow.
Outstanding. I love it so much. I watched it. I don't get to watch a lot of other pieces of events that I'm not in, but I was lucky enough to watch her poetry, and it blew me away. Absolutely stunning. I'm so proud of her.
Well, that was a champion. And then Bricklin Johnson in Persuade, Stephanie Holfarth, EPR, and again, Maddie Clabel in Dramatic. What did you do? Dramatic interpretation is an event where you basically get a cut from a play or any kind of material that has stage directions in it, and it's an 8-minute script, usually has some pretty serious subjects in nature, and yeah, it's all about characterization, it's about the blocking, it's about the memorization. So, what's EPR?
EPR is extemporaneous programmed reading, which is a very convoluted name for a not so convoluted issue. And you basically get an hour, and you get different kinds of scripts, and you have to cut them down, write an intro for it, and perform it. Yeah, it's kind of like a think on your feet. How are you going to do this in a way that has a character, in a way that feels like it hasn't just been given to you kind of a thing? And honestly, Stephanie, this is her first year doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, she is excellent at EPR.
Kind of an improv type thing, isn't it?
A little bit. For that kind of material is found usually in your introduction, so you have to kind of give introductory remarks about the script that you're saying. And the script that you're saying, everybody has the same one. So you all have to kind of cut it down, and you have different ways of saying certain things. It's all about, it's kind of weird to explain, but it's all about your performance skills and your technical characterization skills.
Okay. And having the same script, you really have to be above and beyond everybody else because everybody's doing the same one, so you really have to bring it out and put your own personality into it, don't you?
Absolutely. There's you can truly see it by like who the lineup is at the end of the day on finals. It's like who was really able to pull the character out of this piece, who was able to really perform it to the best of their abilities. And obviously Stephanie did just that. And
as we know, Stephanie's got a great personality, so that could definitely come through. Also, we had 5 All-Staters. Jerica Aldridge was one, Brinklin Johnson, yourself, Maddie Clabel, Emmy Jones, and Abby Redfern were also All-State. Is that voted on, or how do you achieve an All-State status? status?
So All-State for speech and debate is not the way that we usually consider All-State, like in the sports world. But when you are a member of like C-Stand All-State, you basically have to get 4 different legs, and you can get it from debate, you can get it from Congress, and you can get it from speech. We don't have a debate team in Valley City, so in order to get 4 legs, you have to be in the top 20% of all the events that you do for speech to get a leg. You have to either place first or become presiding officer at a Congress tournament. Like, honestly, getting these legs is really difficult to do. So the fact that we had 5 and we don't have a debate team is seriously pretty impressive.
Yeah, as they say, the other teams didn't have a leg to stand on. I'm sorry, I'm a punny kind of guy. I had to get it out there and had to do it. And our state championship coach is joining us now, so Abby's going to be coming over here momentarily. But 148 points for the Highlanders. Try not to trip, Abby. We'll get you up there. 148 points for the Highlanders. 55 points for Cheyenne, ahead of Cheyenne finishing second. And Abby, I'll just ask you this first. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
And getting a state championship in your first year as the head coach.
Yes.
But you had a pretty good, easy group to work with, didn't you, Abby?
Yeah, they're good kids. They make my job pretty easy. I mean, they are smart, so they don't always listen because they have opinions.
Oh, sure.
But I will say that I'm glad that I have students that advocate for themselves, and we have to work sometimes on when to disagree, but we do pretty well.
Well, agree to disagree on that.
Yes.
But the question I was going to ask you, a 55-point spread between yourselves and Cheyenne.
Yes.
Is that a wide spread at a state competition?
Yeah, so it is a decently widespread. Our kids definitely outperformed our numbers. We can guesstimate a certain number that we should be putting out, and they definitely did better than the numbers should have been. So I was happy. My numbers lied to me a little, but on the good side.
As you got on the bus, you were just kind of describing it. Did you say anything to them as you got on the bus ready to leave?
Honestly, I'm not sure that I remember.
That's perfect.
I was kind of in a state of shock, I think, until Sunday. And then by Sunday, we were already in Bismarck getting ready to compete in national qualifiers. So I have finally maybe processed everything that's gone on.
It's starting
the
to
past
sink
week. Yeah, I kind of know what's going on in my life now again.
We'll talk about that state qualifier or national qualifier here in a moment. But you had 6 champs, 13 in the top 3, 23 that placed.
Yeah.
That has to show you how incredible this group is. Not just this group, but speech at Valley City High School.
Yeah, it was definitely a very proud day for me. I was thrilled. There's not really much words to describe when things turn out that well. I was very nervous actually going into the day because I had never done this without Nick. Nick and I have, ever since I've coached with Nick, and Nick is one of my good friends, and it's always hard to, I think, lose the person who, like, he was the leader and we all followed. And so going into that being the leader, I was very nervous. And so I was very thrilled when I got to be a little bit more calm. As I started to see finals go up, I was like, okay, we're hanging in there, we're doing all right. And I have been nothing but thrilled and excited and pleased with this group of kids. They've done extremely well.
And with this young lady as kind of been your right-hand person this year, I know once she said, hey, I got to do the coaching thing tonight. Abby's doing some judging stuff. Is she pretty good leadership with your seniors?
My upperclassmen in general are phenomenal. So there is, when you look at the number of kids we have on this team and how much practice each piece needs in order to be competitive, it's a lot of time. And so without my seniors, and honestly, we have leaders all the way down to freshmen that are very, very good coaches. They know when they need to step in and they help us, especially when kids are learning new events. They know the structures, they know the basics, they teach the foundation a lot, and then we step in and we strengthen it. And obviously we're all teaching the foundation because there's enough new kids coming into speech every year, which is a fantastic problem to have. But my upperclassmen are fantastic. I could not ask for any more out of them. They're rock stars.
And you look at Steph Wolfarth, first year she does EPR.
Yeah.
And gets a state championship.
Yeah.
Maddie and I were just talking about it. About her personality, definitely is. It almost seems like it's made for an EPR. But does that impress you too when you get somebody the first time they're doing something like this at the state competition and to win it?
Yeah, I will always say that speakers who can do multiple events in multiple different areas that are well-rounded are dangerous. I mean, well, same thing with Maddie. There's a group of them that they can do interp, they can do public speaking events, they can do draw events, they really can compete everywhere. And that's what I hope for kids, because it means they're well-rounded, and it means that their skill set has been built all the way around. They're not only strong in one place. So for Steph to be able to do that this year, I mean, it was totally a highlight of my season. One of them was her winning, because she has worked very hard, very, very hard. And her schedule is not easy. She puts in a lot of time in a lot of different places. She works very hard. So it was a very, very exciting win.
I think I asked you this question, Maddie, the first time you and I chatted, beginning of the speech season, how you progressed as an individual and changed as an individual, and maybe lost the shyness of a shy Maddie Clabel, which I don't think could ever happen, but apparently it was once. But how you progressed and improved in that up to your senior year, and what speech did for you in that department.
Yes. Honestly, now that I'm not fully to the end yet, but, state is kind of the wrap up of your North Dakota season. And looking back, I don't know who I would be without this activity. I don't know who I would be without the adults that have helped me through it. I don't know who I would be without the friends that I've made, because I really did come into this as a very nervous 7th grader. I saw a family friend do storytelling one time when I was 8, and I was like, that's cool. And I never had a second thought about it. One of my good friends who I just happened to make 7th grade year was like, Maddie, you should do speech with me. It's going to be awesome for you. You're going to love it. And I haven't looked back. And I could not imagine the skills that I've had, the friends that I've made, the adults that are in my life, the amount of connection, community, and cooperation that I've grown and learned throughout speech and debate has really seriously impacted my life. And I'm so excited to be able to be a part of this team that's all been learning the same skills and will continue to teach the same skills as we get older. It's been seriously magical, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
And I think your work on the Highlander Activity Network, I think, used that speech background to do, even though it was play-by-play, but just in the interview process, probably helped you a little bit when you work here in front of the camera too, right?
Absolutely. Fun fact about me, I'm actually going to VCSU, hopefully this...
if they want you, yeah.
If they want me this coming fall semester for journalism and for communications. I, despite all of my best interests growing older, was I want to be a doctor. I want to go into pre-med, and I want to work with my dad. And that is something that has completely shifted due to my experience in speech and debate, and due to my the outreach and the experiences that I've been able to have due to that, what this activity has brought me. And the fact that my entire life has my life path has changed really shows you how much of an impact an activity can have on your life. Yeah, that's speech and debate for you.
Well, maybe if you get a medical degree, you can be the next Dr. Oz.
That would be weird.
Abby, you talked about the national qualifier in Bismarck, and do we have 7 or something? We have a good number of national qualifiers, don't we?
Yeah, so I believe we have 6 entries, 7 kids, because one of them's a duo.
Sure.
So Ben and Jerica, Ben Eldridge and Jerica Cruda.
Ben and Jerry, no.
Ben Cruda and Jerica Eldridge qualified in duo. They had a phenomenal day. Phenomenal day. Maddie became Valley City High School's first ever 4-year qualifier to the national tournament. She's qualified freshman through senior year, and she will be awarded it with the 4-year qualifiers at the national tournament. That's a really big deal. Really, really big deal. It doesn't happen hardly ever, and we're going to stop talking about it so I don't cry on camera.
I was going to say, you get emotional.
Abby Redfern and Brinklin Johnson both qualified in Persuade. Original oratory is what it's called. At Nationals, it's a little different, but it's exciting. And then Amelia Meester is on our World Schools team, and Emmy Jones qualified in boy.
Okay. I wasn't expecting the sun to come out. That's why I didn't shut the shades, but that's okay. We need the sunshine. We want to see if there's sunshine going on out there. Louisville, Kentucky?
Yep.
And that'll be coming up in June.
Yes.
I think you said the first week in June, Maddie?
The 12th through the 17th
So
June.
second week in June. So obviously we might, right before school ends, we'll have you that last Wednesday. You'll be on the last show, and we'll talk about that national competition. Abby, one final thought on, you look towards the future, what Student Congress did this year and speech. The future looks pretty bright, no pun intended, with the sun, for Student Congress and speech at Valley City High School, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Our junior high classes right now are a fierce group. So, you look into next year, and we will, this group of seniors and next year's group are both big groups. And last year's group was a big group. And so looking, when 3 years ago when we were looking at all of this, we were, ooh, this could not be so fun. And now looking ahead, I feel certainly much more secure. Not that I enjoy losing this one and those who go with her, but I am excited for them to get to do whatever they're going to do in their great, big, beautiful lives, because it's going to be awesome to watch. But our younger classes coming up are very talented. So, and they are growing really fast. There was a lot of them who did some scary stuff. They're going to be dangerous, especially next year. I think they're really going to grow into their own, because they were pushing around some big kids this year. So it will be exciting to see how we grow, but I am very much looking forward to the future. I think that we're going to keep on trucking here and
add a lot more banners to the hack wall. And, of course, 2020, we didn't have one, so we could be talking 6 in a row.
Yeah.
But we didn't have one in 2020. And that's another thought, too. You didn't have a state meet in 2020. You're able to come back in 2021 and 2022. Just a resilient group, isn't it, Abby, with this group of those that have lived through COVID and gotten through it? Yeah, they have certainly learned how to adapt. And even if you look outside of our high school season, that first Nationals of 2020 being online, we couldn't be in contact with each other at all physically. So last year was a little different because we were physically together. Sure. That first Nationals is the hardest thing that I've done in my entire life.
Me too.
It was not fun, and they needed to be extremely resilient. And we made it, and we had a great tournament. It was a great day, but they're tough. They're resilient. They adapt well, and that's important. So yeah. And the life skills that you learn adapting to things. You already mentioned it, but just changes in the world, not just so much your life, but changes in the world. You have to adapt. Yeah. And roll with the punches, as they say. But again, state championship 5 in a row for the Valley City speech team. 6 individual state champs, 13 out of the 36 placed in the top 3, and 23 placed overall out of the 36 entries. And Maddie Clabel, again, a 4-time national participant. Congratulations, an all-stater, a state champ. Boy, you got a lot of things you're going to be putting in your bedroom wall and plaques. You're going to have to build a whole wing, aren't you, for all of your awards?
I like to keep it relegated to a wall.
To just one wall? To one wall. And Abby, again, congratulations to you. Granted, you've been part of this program as an assistant with Nick for several years, but now it's head coach Abby Inkstead, and you are a state champion head coach in your first go-around. So where do you go from here? Come on. Just add
there's
to it.
Growth. There's growth to be had, yeah. I'm hoping that as a state we are really growing in the activity, across the state, and that's exciting to see, because the better we get as a state, the more competitive we are on the national stage, and that's exciting. So there's still places to grow.
I think West Fargo Horace finished 4th, and they're relatively new in this.
This is their second program, and they had the highest number of national qualifiers out of any school, I believe. So those kids are scary. They will be pushing everybody around this next year too. And West Fargo, Cheyenne, all the schools honestly in the region especially in our region, are growing. I would say the schools in the West are as well. I don't spend as much time out there as I obviously do over here, but it's exciting. We're making some big steps as a state, and it should be a fun ride.
All right. Well, Abby Inkstead, head coach, congratulations. Maddie Clabel, state champion all-stater. Ladies, congratulations on a great speech season.
Thank you.
That is Abby Inkstead and Maddie Clabel from the Highlander speech team. We'll be back with more of our Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on the Highlander Activity Network and Coach's Corner on this Wednesday middle part of April. Of course, weather outside is not talking spring, but we are. We're talking spring sports now, and Coach Seth Soderholm from the Highlander baseball team joining us. Coach, how you doing?
I've been better.
Why are we inside, guys?
Exactly.
It's April 13th.
Yep. Yeah, they gave us a false spring, but now we're back to second winter.
We talked about that. I was talking about that with someone saying, why don't we do like college does and have a fall season? I suppose it'd be tough with football.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, if you had enough the good thing is guys play other sports, but if they didn't, you could do something like that.
You could split it up. But we are a spring sport, and coming off here Monday night, opened up in conference play with Wahpeton, and if memory serves, Wahpeton had a good Legion season last year too, as well as Valley City did.
Yep, state champs.
Yeah.
Yep, they had a good group of sophomores last year, juniors this year. They won state in the summer, and I think they're picked 6th in the EDC this preseason. So they have a very good team there.
Split the doubleheader, 10-7 in game 1. Looked like the fielding kind of had a little bit of issue in game number 1.
Yeah, 6 errors. You're not going to win many, if any, games with 6 errors. Came out and swung it in that second inning. I think we put up a 6th spot, and then kind of got complacent on offense after that, and didn't get a big hit. I think we left the bases loaded once, and we had a few guys on another inning, and didn't come through. Only one after that. So it's tough. You pile that up with 6 errors, and you're not going to beat many teams.
Well, you say you always want to compete. That's always been your goal. The guys go out there and compete, and you competed. Wahpeton, I know, put together. They kind of chipped away after that 6-2 lead after 2 innings. Slowly but surely they chipped away and then took the lead, I think, in the 5th and went on to win Game 1 10-7. Game 2, great outing for Ethan Miller. Started the game, won 4 shutout innings. Great outing for him to start things off.
Yeah, he threw it well. He lived in the zone. I don't think he walked many guys. Fastball, curveball, both working well. He did a good job of keeping guys off balance, and defense made a lot of plays behind him, so that was good.
Then struggled a little bit in that 6th inning, or in the top of the 5th inning, where Wahpeton was able to get a couple of runs back. But the guys didn't shirk, came back in the bottom half and got a 3-2 victory. Getting that first win, not just for yourself, first-year coach, but for these guys to get that win, big for this group. Yeah,
they got to learn to win at this level, and that's the first step. Winning that second one, I know it doesn't count for conference play, but you win that one, then you win a conference game, then you win a conference game you're not supposed to win, and so on and so forth, and it'll snowball in the right direction.
Close games too. You got to learn to win those close ones. It was a 3-run game against Thompson, 3-run game against Wahpeton in the varsity games, and then the 1-1 victory. 1-2 now on the season and getting ready for next week, because probably not going to get a game in tomorrow.
No, that one's already been postponed.
Yeah, that was Davies, I believe.
Yeah, we're moving that one into late May.
Okay, so now we look to next week, back into conference play, and Jamestown actually first up.
Yeah, we got Jamestown Tuesday. So, we're supposed to, anyways.
We're gonna. Come on, be positive, Seth.
Yep. Tuesday we got Jamestown and out of conference play. I think we're playing a doubleheader, I believe. It'll be a good test. They had a good team last year. They get second at State Legion. And it's always nice to play your rivals. 30 minutes apart. Should be a good game.
And that'll be at Charlie Brown.
Yep.
That'll be a home game, 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. And again, games you'll be able to watch on the Highlander Activity Network. Is this group slowly but surely getting into that groove now, Seth, even though they've only had 3 games? But are they starting to get the ABs and starting to get the looks and starting to feel a little more comfortable?
Yeah. I've seen growth in every game, which is good. Now we just got to put it together in the first one. And then get that out of the way, obviously. We got 3 opportunities next week, so two conference opportunities, and then that first one against Jamestown. So it'll be a good week for us. It'll be a good test playing 3 doubleheaders a week. That's 6 games. It's a lot of innings. So
yeah, and you got the arms though. Don't you say if you're going to play a lot of doubleheaders, you got to have the arms, and you do.
Yeah, and that's a nice thing about having the conference doubleheader first, and it's not 2 7-inning doubleheaders. You're not stressing for arms in the second one, because obviously we want to win them, but it's not a conference game. So if we can get the first one, get a win in the first one, it makes the second one go a lot easier.
One thing we haven't discussed, your assistants, I know Andrew Sean, helping out on the varsity. Easton Hesh, I think, is taking care of the junior high this year. Good guys, good baseball guys to have helping you out this year.
Yeah, Easton Hesh is a JV.
JV.
And then, Austin Thornton, Gavin Wright, both got junior high. So yeah, I got a good group of young guys who I've, played summer baseball with, played college baseball with, been around, coached. I coached 2 of them. So
okay,
we kind of got a little mix of everything.
sure, but it makes it for fun nights at the ballpark.
Yeah, I think it helps, having these younger guys. It's probably a little bit easier to relate to them or relate to us when we're only 5-6 years apart.
Right.
Yep.
Well, Jamestown, again, that's the next game coming up here for the Highlander baseball team. 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock, doubleheader with the Blue Jays at Charlie Brown Field. Yeah, we want you to watch the Highlander Activity Network, but come on out.
Yeah.
Come on up to the ballpark. It won't be like it was these first few games where I thought we were at football games. Though, actually, Monday night started out pretty nice. Sunshine at 48 degrees.
That first game was pretty warm. It was, which you wouldn't have expected, A few hours before the game, it was all white. It was covered in snow.
It was.
It was quite the turnaround, which, I wasn't really expecting it when we got that snow, but I will gladly take it, get a conference game in.
And then about 24, 48 hours later when a blizzard warning? Of
course.
It is North Dakota, isn't it?
Of course.
Well, Seth, again, appreciate you joining us. We'll look forward to hopefully talking about a doubleheader. We got to be positive. That doubleheader with Jamestown next week. We'll have you on again next Wednesday. So, again, appreciate you stopping by and continued success.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet, Coach. That is Coach Seth Soderholm from the Highlander baseball team. We'll be back with more of the Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. And we are back on the Highlander Activity Network and our Coach's Corner on this Wednesday night. Spring sports are in full swing. Well, we hope they are. We've just got in talking baseball. And now we're joined by Matt Nielson, the head girls tennis coach for the Highlanders. Coach, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Paul.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. I know practice has been getting going here. I think next Tuesday with Wahpeton is the season premiere of Highlander tennis. At least we hope.
We hope. We've had a couple interesting days here, as I'm guessing all the other coaches have talked about the snow and everything. But we've been hitting balls in the inside at the rec center. They have compression balls that we're using, which really helps with our eye-hand coordination and our net play. And then we've been hitting the weight room and conditioning after we use the rec center. So doing the best we can with what we have.
6-3 in the conference last year, 8-8 overall, 5th place finish in the team-wise, and also had a 5th place finish in the doubles with Olivia Ingstead and Breck Suffolcool. Only one senior on last year's squad.
Yep, last year we had Macy Like, and she was actually one of the 3 senior athletes of the year in the EDC last year. So we've had quite a run with EDC senior athletes of the year, and then again with the All-State too, because Breck and Olivia just. They took that back draw and took 5th place to make All-State, and we've had 6 out of the last 7 years. We've had 2 All-Staters per girls tennis season, so it's been pretty good run.
And they finished runners-up during the EDC. They went into the state tournament, the number 2 team in the East region, and I believe we won a state qualifier over Red River 3-2 in the EDC to get in as a team.
Yep, and so last season we came out of nowhere. Like if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season, you said, "Hey, Coach, where do you think you're going to land?" And I said, "You know what? I hope we can host the playing game, win the playing game, and then make some noise, maybe qualify for state, maybe do something." Mm-hmm. And the season went unreal, ridiculous, because we only had 2 returners, basically 3 returners. We had Macy Lake and Breck Suffolcool and Olivia that all had some playing time, but combined they only had 30 matches on, like they're combined together 30 matches total. Okay. You get more than 30 matches per season if you have a full season. So, I basically had only 1 returner if you looked at it just by match-wise. And then we just went on that unreal run where we knocked off Red River for the first time in probably 20 seasons for boys and girls against Red River. We knocked them off, and then that was pretty amazing during the regular season. But then we backed that up, and Grand Forks Central came to town. They were the number 2 seed. And we knocked them off. And as a coach, I've been coaching for 15 seasons for the girls, 15 for the boys. We've never knocked off a number 2 team ever. Mm-hmm. And we knocked them off last year in the girls. That it was unreal how the girls just stepped up and performed. They were unreal with their attention to detail and with their coachability. Mm-hmm. We really focused on keeping the ball in play, running everything down, and just playing smart. And we ground out so many wins because we just kept the ball in play. And Abby Redfern, she totally had probably 4 different times where she was on the court for 4 hours on a given EDC match, because it's 2 hours for a doubles match, 2 hours for a singles match, but she never hit the ball out, and she frustrated her opponents and got us some huge wins. And so we went into the EDC tournament last year as the 5 seed, and we kind of knew that 5-4 matchup, if we could get by North in that first round, if we did that, then we have a really good shot to stay qualified. If we don't get by North, it's going to be really tough. And in that, against that North match, we had some amazing matches by everyone, and I'm going to give my daughter a plug here. She was down against one of the senior athletes of the year and an all-EDC player in Sophie Thompson, and she was down 1 set and down 5-1 in the second. And I coached her at 4-1, and I just walked away. And I go, as long as she keeps playing, it's good. So I walked away and just kept looking down there, and she just stayed on the court. And eventually they both are sitting down. I'm like, oh my gosh, they split sets. And then Kaylee ended up winning that third set to help us win 3-2 against North. And then we had Red River in the state qualifier, which we were able to knock them off 3-2 with a couple big doubles wins. And we kept Red River out of the state tournament for the first time in like 25 years. So, I mean, it was just, that the whole season was kind of a shake your head, like, what is going on? And the kids they just played. They came out to play every day.
And then you got to the state tournament, losing to Mandan, the eventual state champion, in the opening round, I think 5-0 there, and then a tough 3-2 loss to Cheyenne in the consolation round.
And Cheyenne's really good, and we put out a lineup that we thought we had a shot to win, and we did. And you know what, we ended up losing that match, and the kids were down, and I go, you know what, girls, you've outperformed everybody's expectation, and you know what, we got a couple ball bounces here and there during the season. I go, we didn't get the ball bounce today, and it's okay that didn't happen. You guys did amazing, and we'll come back stronger next year.
Well, if you haven't followed high school tennis, just a reminder, during the regular season, it's a 5-4 format with 5 singles, 4 doubles. It's 3-2 at the EDC and the high school, so you have to be very particular because you can only do one event, can't you?
Yep. So when you get to we've talked about this at the national convention, because we hear about how other states do things. So when we went to national conventions, we heard how Colorado does it, and Arizona and New York. And we really like the way we do it. It fits us. So we do a 6-3 lineup where you play 6 singles and 3 doubles in the regular season, and it's you can play both. So our kids get the opportunity to play both. If you go to Minnesota, they play what's called a 4-3, 4 singles, 3 doubles, but you have to only play once. So they don't get the opportunity that they have in North Dakota. So we love that. And we look at how we do our postseason. I mean, we couldn't do our postseason the way we do it if we did 6-3. Right. So we said, you know what? The 3-2 fits us best for postseason, so we can compress it into a one-day tournament, and then we do our individual tournament on that Friday, Saturday, when we had the team tournament on Thursday. So we really like the way it is, and some people might think it's screwy, but you know what? For North Dakota, it's the right thing to do. It
works.
Yes.
It definitely works. And while you talked about Olivia Ingstead and Breck Suffolkul, as last year Breck was a sophomore and Olivia was a sophomore. Breck was a freshman last year. Doubles took 5th at state, lost their they won in the first round, lost second, and then came back with 3 straight match wins.
3 straight match wins, and they had a shot to make that semifinal, and the ball didn't bounce for us there either. But you know what? They came back, and it was fun watching them play in the backdraw because they were on a mission, and they weren't going to lose. Like they set up and hit balls and just put them away, and they're pretty excited too that I think they're going to play doubles again this year. And I mean, this year is going to be tough for us. Like I keep telling our girls that. Yeah, we stay qualified last year, and it's not going to be a walk in the park to stay qualified again this year, because in the EDC, nobody really lost anybody. The entire EDC is full of seniors this year. So, I mean, Cheyenne, Davies, North, like everybody, all the top teams, Red River, they all are full of seniors. So I go, they're not just going to give it to us. Like, we have to go out and earn it again this year if we're going to stay qualify. But it gets pretty exciting to look at, like, so if we keep improving this year, we don't graduate anybody this year.
Right.
So we have one junior on our varsity, and then we have a bunch of sophomores and a couple of 8th graders that are playing on the varsity level. So if we look ahead, you can go, you know, let's do the best we can this year. Maybe we can make some big noise at the EDC tournament, state tournament. But I would say Highlander tennis in next year, you could be like, hey, who do you think's coming out of the EDC? And you can't discount the Highlanders come next season for sure.
Well, we talked about Olivia and Breck, Abby Martinick, Abby Redfern, Georgia Zahn, Kaylee Nielsen. Those are names that come to mind as far as returning that saw a lot of time last year on the varsity level. Are they kind of the ones right now, early on, looking at your lineup?
Yep, so we have those 6, and Abby Martinick has put in a lot of time and effort, and Abby Redfern's looking really good too. So, I mean, those are 2 that are going to step up and get some big wins for us this year. And, yep, Kaylee and Georgia are they're 8th graders,
Yep.
and they're having a lot of fun together, and they're improving a lot as well. Someone that's going to come on the play this year is going to be Alyssa Thompson. Looks like she's going to probably get some doubles play for sure. And we got Ella Olson and Trinity Nelson, Faith Orner. So some others that are right there going, all right, who's going to be our number 7? Who's going to get some playing time here and there? Who's going to get the West Fargo Invite playing time? So we have some more coming up as well.
And I think Faith and Trinity are seniors.
Yep, those are our 2 seniors.
Those are
this
the
year.
2 seniors on the roster. So I know I was talking with Eric Kringley here a couple nights ago, and nothing but excitement around Highlander tennis. Even after the boys' season and now with the girls' season, a lot of excitement going on with Highlander tennis.
Well, we always, I mean, our philosophy is 100% effort, positive attitude, communication with, of course, coaches and each other, and sportsmanship. So, I mean, if that's what you're focusing on, then we can just have a lot of fun all the time. And if you didn't know, with Highlander tennis and community tennis, there's going to be 3 new tennis courts up by the pool here coming up. Susan Kringley did a lot of work on that with Eric and the whole park board and the community, and with all the grants that they got, it helped our community out. And we don't know when it's going to start though. So like I'm like, as a coach, going, all right, so are we going to be able to play all of our matches in town, or are we going to start early? But we don't know when they're going to start ripping them up yet, but it should be sometime soon. So that way we could have another 3 courts that are amazing. And we do have 3 of the best courts in the state already at our Highlander courts.
Yep.
And when they engineered these 3 courts, it's going to be a part of the same kind of a thing where you get to sit on the inside and not have to look through a windscreen, not have to look through fences. So we might have like the premier 6 courts in the state. When people come to us, they're going to be like, this is what tennis viewing and this is what tennis should be, is the way the Highlanders are doing it.
Well, I should have gotten. I'm sorry I didn't win the lottery to get you a dome to put over those. But you like being outside, though, don't you?
Yes, tennis is outside, and we love being outside. And you know what? Jamestown has been absolutely great with us over at the track facility, the Two Rivers Activity Center. They have a dome over there with indoor tennis, so we've been using that this winter, and they're very reasonable and easy to work with. So, I mean, I appreciate the folks in Jamestown and track for working with us.
Well, I mentioned Wapaton is the first match scheduled next Tuesday. That's on the next Tuesday. And then I think next Thursday, West Fargo here for the home opener.
Yep, and both of those, we'll see what happens. I think Wapaton, I just looked at their weather. It looks like they'll be 43 down there, so it might be one of those we might call it the day before to see if we're going to do it or not. But 43 is right on the edge. Like 45 is kind of what you're shooting for without much wind to go play a tennis match. But the Thursday home opener looks okay because right now it's at 53. So I mean, at 53 we're playing tennis for sure. So hopefully we can get one in and maybe even both in next week. Might be a little tough with Wapaton because we basically had one day where we got some matches in so far this year.
Right.
But otherwise, it's going to be all right. We're going to go from indoor playing on some wood, going to Jamestown once in a while, and okay, now go play a match. It'd be almost like hey, let's play just 3-on-3 basketball, and then we'll go up and down and go 5-on-5 on a game day. Like it's going to be tough, but the girls will be up for it.
They'll be mentally tough because that's part of the game. You got to be mentally tough if you're going to play an outdoor sport in the Upper Midwest.
Oh yeah, and our girls already have it. Last year, the way they grinded out all those wins in 4-hour matches, I know they're mentally tough. So if it's cold and windy, they'll be ready for it.
Final question for you, Matt. I think you've already touched on it, but I'll ask it again. Goals. Did this team set some goals?
Well, I mean, the girls really want to stay qualified as a team, and I know Olivia and Breck, they want to go doubles and vie for a double state championship. Like that would be that end goal. But I one time did a goal setting, and it totally backfired on me because it just got in their heads. And in tennis, you can't be in your head. So we really focused on, yes, we'd like to stay qualified. We have to work like we want to be state champions. That's how you have to do it. But you have to focus on the pillars. You have to be positive attitude, 100% effort. You got to be mentally and physically with me all the time. You got to have sportsmanship, got to communicate. And we go, if you do that every day, you're going to play the best you can, and you're going to improve the fastest you can. Because I tried that goal setting, and it blew up in my face. And once we flipped to the philosophy that we have now, we've been on an upwards trajectory, and we've maintained a high level. So I kind of believe in the philosophy of, yes, this is where we want to be, but we're not going to focus on like, hey, we want to get 5 wins against Red River. Nope. We don't do that. We go, you know what, here's where we're trying to get to, and here's how we're going to accomplish it.
All right. Match by match, set by set, serve by serve.
Point by point.
Point by point is the way you go for it.
Yep.
All right. Well, Matt, I appreciate it. Continued success. Look forward to this year. We'll be seeing some tennis matches on the Highlander Activity Network. So looking forward to a fun spring of girls tennis here at Valley City.
I'm looking forward to it, too. Thanks, Paul.
You bet. Coach Matt Nielson from the Highlander girls tennis team will be back and wrap things up on tonight's edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on the Highlander Activity Network and Coach's Corner, wrapping things up for tonight's edition. And again, coming up, we've got hopefully, weather permitting, of course, we got the Easter break coming up here, but next Tuesday, baseball as Valley City will be taking on Jamestown, doubleheader at Charlie Brown Field, 5 and 7 o'clock. And we'll have those games for you here on the Highlander Activity Network. Look forward to tennis next Thursday. Softball also next Tuesday, as they are scheduled to host Grand Forks Central to open up the softball season. And I want to thank my guests for tonight's show, Abby Ingstead and Maddie Clabel, as part of the state championship speech team, Coach Seth Soderholm from the Highlander baseball team, and Matt Nielson, our Valley City Highlander tennis coach, my guests for tonight. So again, we're back next Wednesday, 6 o'clock for Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network.